much earlier than expected. Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Right. All right.
That better be the cold open.
It is time, baby. It's a lot earlier than expected, maybe for and everyone but Tate.
Yeah.
We are doing it. It is Trevor Lawrence, the Christ of football himself, as you can see right here.
Why are we doing this?
Unbiased journalism coming from Max Chadwick.
Unbiased journalism.
Tate
I am
notably not expecting to win on yesterday.
Why are we doing this?
We're doing an updated scouting report on Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. This is Boomer Bust the Draft Show, by the way. Again, I got really excited by a quarterback scouting report that I just completely missed the open of the show. Max Chadwick,
this was first take.
Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam basically is. This updated scouting report on Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. We did one before the season, and we're doing an updated one after this season. Of course,
he's a loser. He's canceled. Get him out of here. Great. Done the video.
Goodbye.
We'll go over his strengths, his weaknesses, where he ranks for us on our boards, get player comps for him, and what NFL team he might fit at the next level. One team. Of course, be sure to follow our Twitter and Instagram at BoomerBustDraft. We're on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts as well. Please check us out there. Rate us 5 stars. We launched our website. We're posting more in-depth articles and mock drafts, other draft-related topics. Be sure to check that out in the link below. And please, again, like and subscribe to the channel and comment. What do you think about Trevor Lawrence right now? Because we want to see.
What do you think about Trevor Lawrence?
We want to see what you think before you hear our opinions.
What do you?
He's okay.
Let's go over the background on the pigskin prophet Trevor Lawrence. He's number 1 on the official Boomer Bust Big Board 1.0. Number 1 quarterback. He hasn't declared yet, but his fiance posted a thank you on Instagram.
At the time of recording.
Which is right now, Saturday, January 2nd at 10:45. Hasn't declared yet, but his fiance, Marissa, posted a thank you on Instagram saying, "Thank you, Clemson. You will be missed." So he's gone.
He took a grad transfer. Listen, grad transfer to Syracuse is on the table. Grad transfer to Syracuse is on the table.
It's true.
It is.
Jackson State with Deion Sanders.
Oh, my God, please. Oh, my God.
All of this is on the table.
He's a junior. He's 6'6", 220 pounds. Former 5-star recruit, number 1 overall, and number 1 quarterback in 2018 coming out of Georgia. He's the second highest rated quarterback recruit in 24/7 history, behind only Vince Young in 2002. 3-year starter.
How that worked out.
Yeah. Heisman, he was great in college, which is what the recruit is. So, Heisman finalist this year, as well as a Davey O'Brien Award, which is given to the nation's top quarterback. 34-2 record as a starter. Never lost a regular season game. Won 3 straight ACC championship games. Made 3 straight playoffs.
Competition.
Won national championship as a freshman against Alabama. That's good competition. He was the game's MVP. Lost in the national championship as a sophomore versus LSU. And, of course, lost to Tate's Ohio State in the semifinal this year. This season, completed 69% of his passes for 3,153 yards, 24 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, ran for 203 yards, and 8 touchdowns. We're going off the rails already. I love it. In his 3-year career, he completed 67% of his passes for 10,098 yards, 90 touchdowns, 17 picks, and ran for 943 yards and 18 touchdowns. Long-winded because he did a lot. Tate, let's start with you. When you watch Trevor Lawrence, what do you like the most?
Folks, here's the reason we're going off the rails is because what do you want me to say? The answer is everything. Accuracy, arm strength, running ability, size, football IQ, 3-year starter. These are all pluses for Trevor Lawrence and are things that people look for when drafting a quarterback. And he's good at all of them. So, I think that's it. That's the video. Thanks for watching Boomer Bust. Remember to subscribe.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. So to pick up off of that, I have absolutely nothing to add to that. I guess if I had to throw one thing, if you want to throw it all the way back to literally episode 2 of this fine establishment, Justin Ross has spinal stenosis and may never play football again. Who knows? Justin Ross, very good receiver. The question was, what is Trevor going to be able to do? He turned Amari Rodgers, very good player, who was a slot receiver for the last 2 years, turned him into a hell of a receiver this year. Great stats. And Cornell Powell, who had 25 career catches entering this year, is all of a sudden bullying Shaun Wade in the national semifinal.
Well, big achievement, Shaun Wade.
Hey,
noted
first team All-American.
It's true.
Shaun Wade.
It's true.
So he made his 2 wide receivers a lot of money, which I think is awfully nice of him. That's all I have. So
we may have had a long text exchange about Shaun Wade's All-American not occurring.
Clearly deserved it.
The cornerback video.
Clearly deserved it, folks.
So, although contrary to what everyone thought would happen, Moses did not part the Red Sea against Ohio State yesterday. So now a lot of people are talking about maybe he's not QB1, and that's really the reason why I had to put this video out here, because we have to remind people.
We are here to set the record straight.
That he's still probably QB1.
Probably,
right?
UDFA.
Oh, God. Probably just hurt me inside.
All right.
Probably. I'm just going to bless myself after saying,
okay.
That.
All right.
Okay.
So let me just go back to something that we may have been talking about a little bit before we started this video, which is I was going back and watching our Mike Renner episode where I wasn't a part of this pod yet, and they were having a great convo.
The glory days.
The glory days. And Mike was going through some plays with Trevor and about how great he is at diagnosing coverages and reads and blitzes and figuring out where to throw a ball without even looking to the spot that he needs to, and just honestly hoping that his guy's there because he knows the plays. He's just got a mental processing that is ahead of a guy at his age. At the time of the video, he was still 19. I don't know if he is. He's probably not 19 anymore, but
21 now, yeah.
But it's just we don't understate how important it is to be a 3-year starter in college. Like, we've seen so many 1-year guys come out and just flop because they're not ready for the NFL because there's not enough time to refine their games. And I didn't even hear what he said. I hope it was Dwayne Haskins.
No. It was Zach, but also Dwayne. 50 touchdowns in college. People forget.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Anyways, it's him being in college for this long, playing as well as he has for this long matters, and it's why he's got such a high floor.
I mean, what the hell do you want me to say here?
He's mobile too. I keep thinking like there's no way this guy's going to run because he's kind of a stick, and I feel like he's going to get crushed in the NFL. But like, he's actually fast, and I hope he's not going to go to the combine, but I hope he runs a 40 time because I really want to see what he runs.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like you guys mentioned, what's not to like? Size. If you still care about size of QB, which you shouldn't as much anymore, but he's got it. 6'6", strongest arm in this draft, I would say. He can rocket at 65 yards downfield. He'll enter the league probably maybe top 5, but definitely top 10 strongest arm in the league. Can also, Nick, you mentioned it, run very fast. You got 2 Ohio State runs. If you want to see what I'm talking about, what we're talking about, the Baron Browning run in the playoff game this year, where he ran past him. Baron Browning ran a 4.5, by the way. And the playoff run last year.
Had that played. Like, I cannot emphasize enough how well that was schemed by Ohio State. And he just outran him to the corner. Like, there's absolutely nothing.
Watch the one in the second half where Baron tackled him. Same play.
Yeah, okay. Well, Baron Browning ran a 4.5.
I think the angle he took on the first one was a little bit bad, but still the speed was impressive.
Yeah, exactly. And even the 70-yard run last year, too, where it's like, where the hell did that come from? It was unbelievable.
He was also, I forgot to say, he was very nice to me and Max, which was cool.
He was. Yeah, well,
he was very nice.
We didn't make fun of his mustache, though, was the thing. If you don't make fun of his mustache, he's very nice to you. We muted our mics when we're not talking. But I expect the time in the low 4.6s, maybe even 4.5s. Very good mobility. Gets the ball out. Nick, you mentioned this. Lightning quick. His ability to read defenses pre and post snap is absurd. His average time to throw is 2.3 seconds this year. 15th fastest in the country. He's so calm in the pocket and knows exactly where to throw it every time. Almost never takes bad sacks. Not something on field, but Lawrence had unbelievable hype coming out of high school. He was called the next Peyton Manning when he was a sophomore in high school. He's lived up to it. So pressure on the field rarely phases him, and pressure off the field doesn't phase him either. So PJ, what do you think the weaknesses are for Trevor Lawrence?
I don't know, man. Like, does he have a passport? Because he's going to be moving to London in 3 years. Like, what are we doing here? Like, the one thing I would say, I said it in our Lawrence scouting report at the beginning of the year. I'm going to double down on it now because last night wasn't great. This is now 2 straight playoff games where the lights have looked a little bright. Now, last night was better than the LSU game for a myriad of reasons. The no Tony Elliott thing, I underestimated. I think everybody underestimated that because the game plan was totally different than everything they've done the entire year this year, and it cost them. There is no debating that. But I think he's able a little bit, not that the moment gets to him, but the LSU game, they got in his face early. They hit him early. He got quite frankly, he got bullied in that LSU game, and he did not recover from it. If you hit him early and you get in his face, he's not unfazable, and we've seen it twice now. And he's going to, listen, number 1 overall pick, greatest quarterback ever, like all that stuff. NFL defensive coordinators knows that. Greg Williams certainly knows that. He's going to have a target on his back, and guys are going to go after him, and he's just going to have to adapt because he didn't do it in the LSU game, and last night was better, but it still wasn't great.
So first con, I'm going with lost in his last college game of his career. I'm just gonna
so is Justin Fields.
slide that out there.
Fields, so that's fine.
Max Jones, QB1.
Can't say that for sure yet. Other one, I'm going with fumbles. I don't know, something to pay attention to. 16 in 3 years, fumbled a whole bunch versus Ohio State. They were really getting to him. Ball security, that Tyreek Smith one where he punched out where Clemson recovered, that was interesting. Is he a glorified Sam Darnold? Can't be sure quite yet. And that is correct.
Urban Meyer's problem, not my problem.
What PJ was talking about with the brights maybe being too light or too bright or hitting him early, whatnot. Versus, I also, in the first half of the Ohio State game last year, he didn't look great. And then the Shaun Wade hit, he was a different person after the Shaun Wade hit, and just became the player that we all think he is. But yeah, maybe when the lights are bright, maybe he shrinks down a little.
Yeah, the last 2 times we've seen him in big games. I mean, unless you count the ACC championship, I don't really. I think those games.
Well, the ACC championship,
whatever. He's come up short, and it's not really a knock against him. It's just that I haven't seen kind of the Justin Fields thing we saw last night, where he gets knocked down, he gets up with potentially broken ribs and just wills his team to victory. And maybe that's a subjective thing, but I don't see that like inherent like Trevor Lawrence puts the team on his back type thing yet from him.
Well, that's also the other thing is how many times has he been the worst team? Like last night, he was not the underdog in that game. No. And he was maybe the underdog in the LSU game last year. Like Justin Fields put the team on his back because he had to. Trevor has always been the better guy. And like Jacksonville's got good receivers, defense is okay. Like Miles Jack is a good centerpiece. Listen, they got pieces like you could drafted 2 defensive guys in the first round last year, but like Jacksonville sucks for a reason, people. Like he's not going to be like the be all end. He's not going to be big man on campus anymore.
Yeah, I agree, and he's going to have to be someone to look up to there. And I think it's going to be good for him. I think it's if he succeeds in Jacksonville, it's going to be like very good. Like he's going to be great. If it doesn't work, it's going to be because of Jacksonville, and it's going to be unfortunate. But we all think he's going to succeed. Honestly,
force your way to the Jets, coward.
And then one other thing, I already mentioned it kind of. I think his frame's a little weird, and I think we've seen that when he gets beat up in these games. I don't know if I need to see him put on a weight because he moves pretty well, but 6'6", 220, he's a little bit skinny. We haven't really seen it in the NFL. Like, it's just kind of weird, So I don't know how it's going to work, but
sure,
there's something there.
So the big game thing, I'm not really concerned about that because, like you guys mentioned, the Ohio State game, he was awesome. The LSU game was terrible. I will be the first to admit that was a terrible showing from him. Last night, I wouldn't put the blame on him at all. I think the line was terrible. I think receivers could not get separation, and no Tony Elliott was killing him. And if you want to talk about big game, that freshman year national championship game, man, he was a surgeon picking apart Nick Saban in Alabama in that game. So big game thing, I'm not worried about that at all. The hype, like he lives up to it. But the only trade I would say that's not elite out of all the important ones for quarterback is accuracy for him. I compare it to like Spider-Man, learning his powers, like in the beginning of the movie where Lawrence kind of puts too much power on some throws and then puts not enough power on some other throws, especially in the short game. The downfield passing I have no questions about, but the short games puts too much mustard on it and then leaves it short sometimes too. Turn on last year's championship game against LSU. He was missing throws left and right. His footwork was an issue in that game, and when he misses throws, his footwork's an issue on those throws too. So the footwork a little bit cleaned up. Tate, you mentioned it too, fumbling issue. 7 fumbles in 10 games this year, including 3 against Ohio State. 16 fumbles in his career. Has got to do a better job protecting the football when he's being hit. And when he's being hit, Nick, you mentioned it too, not really a big weakness for me, but I want to see like 10 pounds or so added to his frame. 6'6", 3 inches taller than the average, but he's still 2 pounds lighter. He looks really lanky too. So I want to see.
Can I add something in? So I just totally remembered this. It was a tweet that we sent out a while ago. In 30 games versus unranked opponents, Trevor has 13 interceptions. In 10 games before last night, he had 3. So maybe a bit of like complacency, lesser opponent. I'm going to take a little more chances and throw more interceptions.
He also was bad the first 4 games of last year.
Yeah.
Really
awful.
bad.
Like awful. Yeah. He was forcing it too. He was like, he seemed like after that Alabama game, he was like, I could do whatever the hell I want. And then he noticed, he's like, okay, he threw 8 picks in those first 4 games, and after that, he didn't throw a single pick the rest of the year. So
he's adaptable, though. That's good.
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, okay, I got to rein it in a little bit. So Nick, give me the bottom line on Trevor Lawrence, where he ranks for you, player comp, and you say potential team fits. There's really only one, but what do you think about Trevor Lawrence?
He's going to Jacksonville, and if Jacksonville doesn't go there, it doesn't get him. Like,
hire Ryan Day.
We should move them immediately to San Antonio and rename it and get Shad Khan out. Like that would be such a train wreck if they don't take him. Honestly, like, because all right, make arguments about ceilings. Maybe you think that Justin Fields' ceiling or Zach Wilson's ceiling is higher than Trevor Lawrence, but you cannot argue that the floor for those guys is higher than what we've seen from 3 years of Trevor Lawrence in a consistent playoff national contending team.
Yeah.
With, good receivers, but not a Jamar Chase, not a Terry McLaurin, like solid players around him, but I wouldn't say like the best offensive piece. He never had the best offensive pieces in the country, The
offensive line, his entire career has been terrible.
No, it's been
they're going to have 2 NFL draft picks, and John Simpson was a 3, and Jackson Carman stinks. So the offensive line has not done him any favors.
Travis Etienne, his best weapon, consistently year to year, and he's a running back. So, but yes, Jaguars, please take him. Don't mess with your fans. Like, do it right. But he's the number 1 player on my board. It's gotten closer. I still think Fields and Wilson are behind him. I guess you could debate if you're crazy, but like, legitimately, he should be number 1 on everyone's board, and not taking away from those other guys. Like, they easily could go 1, 2, 3 in this draft. They're all very good, but Lawrence just has that floor, and I think that really helps him. My comp, last year I said I didn't like Justin Herbert coming out at all. I thought that he was leaving throws on the field. It turned out it was the offense at Oregon ruining him. And I said, if he ends up being good, he's going to look like good Trevor Lawrence in college. So now we're turning that around and saying that Justin Herbert is the Trevor Lawrence comp.
I like that.
Herbert did work out.
Yeah, Nick. Before I didn't even ask this, we gotta do it again. The whole generational thing. What quarterback do you think he's the best since?
Oh, here we go.
We gotta do it. It's the one time I'm gonna ask you to do it.
He hates this. Oh my god.
He hates it. I know.
I loved Burrow. I did. But and PJ, this is like all this age thing. I don't know. He's a great number 1 pick. I'll say Luck. Just because again the floor.
Fair.
I don't know about it's a different era, so I kind of don't want to say Elway and Manning, but he's, definitely a Luck. We'll say Luck, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to ignore the generational question because I simply do not care. I'm not doing it. I am
it's
just
a talking point.
Yeah, it is a talking point. Like, okay, so here's my thing: is we're gonna look back in in 15 years, whatever. And we're going to look back, and Trevor Lawrence's college trophy case, quite frankly, going to be really empty. Number 1 Heisman, got the 1 natty, lost back-to-back playoff games, lost another natty championship, beat up an ACC. The conference sucks, like whatever. The trophy case is not going to be impressive. We all have to remind ourselves of how good of a college career this actually was. Nick said it. It is virtually impossible to do 3 years of what he did. I think, in terms of generational, I think he's one of, if not the just best college football players ever. You know, guys have stats. Guys have 4 years. Cam Newton has the 1 year of just maybe the best single year. Burrow has a single year. But just in terms of football ability, I think he's better than anybody. So, yeah, I guess it's luck, whatever. Team fits everybody but Kansas City. It's a shame for the league that he has to go to Jacksonville. And I'm not.
Oh, here we go. Jeremy Schaap has joined Boomer Bust. Here we go.
No. That's just market size. Just market size.
Well,
Jacksonville deserves him for being bad, but just the market of Jacksonville it's not great. I'm sure Roger Goodell is not entirely thrilled with what transpired here. Player comp, I feel bad comparing anybody to him. Just because it's weird. We haven't seen the 6'6", 220 thing. It is like shocking how tall he is, but it's also like his legs just like he's got no meat on those bones, which is bizarre. So I will
though.
I jokingly said Joe Flacco if Joe Flacco was actually like good. I'm actually going to give you a better Joe Flacco, a guy whose career was kind of marred by injuries, but another number one overall pick with at least a kind of similar size. If Carson Palmer was able to run, I kind of feel like Carson Palmer, because Carson Palmer led the NFL in average depth of target a couple times, you know, marred by a couple ACL injuries young, but another, you know, Heisman Trophy winning first overall pick, big college pedigree type guy. So Carson Palmer with legs, I guess, maybe. But even that doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, team fit anywhere but Kansas City or even Kansas City. I don't care. Trade Mahomes.
Jeremy Schaap, the one picks the Chiefs.
Yeah. Jeremy Schaap Clark over there.
Jacksonville deserves the number one pick. The market size, it's kind of a shame. That's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, New York Jets fan rooting against other teams for their market size because, you know, yeah, okay. Number one on my board.
Funny if that happened.
QB2, number one on my board, QB2. Does that make sense? My comp is an accurate Josh Allen. Both tall boys, plus runners, big arm. Josh actually has kind of learned how to throw the ball this year. His accuracy's up. So that's where I'm going with that. Josh is, I think, like a little smaller. They're like similar size, but not the same. But yeah, so I'm going Josh Allen, number one on my board, QB1, team fit anywhere.
Yeah, he's still QB1. We had a lot of overreactions on the Bird app after the playoff game. Trevor Lawrence is still a top pick. All right, I love Justin Fields. He's been my QB2 forever. He's not QB1. Trevor Lawrence is QB1.
If Jacksonville decided that Justin Fields was QB1, I would not be opposed.
You would not be opposed. Yeah. In my opinion, he's one of the best quarterback prospects ever. Luck, Elway, Peyton Manning. He's in that same vein. I would put them. I don't know if he's better, but I think he's very much up there. And I think if you say he is the best quarterback prospect ever, I wouldn't disagree with it. I wouldn't disagree with it. Great quarterbacks elevate their wide receivers. Brady, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Lawrence did that this year. I was very afraid when Justin Ross was out for the year, and he was very good. I know PJ Love, Amari Rodgers, Cornell Powell. He elevated them to be a really good receiving core. That means a lot to me.
I said this 15 minutes ago.
I know, and I'm repeating it. As for player comp, Tate, you literally stole it. I was so pissed. 2020 Josh Allen was what I was going to say. I also had an old one. I've seen it a couple times. John Elway. I went back and watched him more. Kind of the same thing, and especially as a hype prospect, too.
Hopefully
John Elway is
better
very
GM.
Man, Max grinding the John Elway tape. Here we go.
I actually looked back and watched some highlights of it. I was like, you know what? I can see it. Similar hype coming out, similar size, arm talent, mobility.
So is he also going to demand a trade as the number one overall pick would be my next question.
He could.
John Elway
I wouldn't blame him. Pulling Elway, pulling Eli Manning, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, go to the Jets.
Listen, I think Lawrence has accuracy issues, but I think he's going to really turn it on. And, you know, the 2020 Josh Allen is my favorite one because Allen has turned it on this year, and you see the sky-high ceiling. Peter's going to hate me for saying it. You ask me to start a team right now, probably only Mahomes I would take. Probably only Mahomes over Trevor Lawrence. Go ahead. I know you're raising your hand.
Because you said Peyton Manning, and I completely forgot about his comparisons to Lawrence in this video, and I wanted to say one thing before it ends. Yeah. When we talk about ability to read defenses, diagnose things before the snap, and not a lot of guys in college can do that coming in the NFL. And you have a guy who's good at it early in his college career and doesn't even have to learn it in college. Not only do you not have to teach this guy this stuff when he gets to the NFL, but if you're really good at it, like Peyton Manning, he can help coach the offense.
Yeah.
And that's such an advantage to any team in the NFL. Like,
yeah.
It's just great for whoever gets him, basically.
1,000%.
So I just want to go on the record here. I think the Urban Meyer thing is so incredibly stupid. And I don't think it's going to work. I just want to go on the record with that. Yeah. I think it is incredibly dumb to hire a guy who has been out of football and has never coached at the NFL level to coach Trevor Lawrence. But more power to you. Not my problem.
We'll see. Record, Jaguars rumors that they might hire.
Also, Urban Meyer has no tie to Justin Fields. So anyone
just so we all know,
because Ohio State that has nothing to do with it. Justin Fields came during the Ryan Day era. So if Ryan Day gets hired, then we can start talking. But Urban Meyer's no ties. Listen, Lawrence was one of the greatest quarterback recruits ever. Now one of the greatest quarterback prospects ever. He's had insane hype since he was 14, lived up to it. I personally don't want to bet on that changing in the NFL. And as for team fit, Jacksonville. Team fit is what I think is like what teams could take him. It's one team. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's it. So that's what we got on Trevor Lawrence. Please like the video, subscribe to our channel, comment what you think about Trevor Lawrence. Where would you take him in 2021? Are you that person that says Justin Fields or even Trey Lance or Zach Wilson? Are they QB1? Is Trevor Lawrence still your QB1? Where do you think he ranks all time? Tommy DeVito. Where do you think Trevor Lawrence ranks all time? How many quarterbacks would you take over him to start a team right now? And comment what video you want to see us do next. So please follow our Twitter, Instagram at BoomerBustDraft, and check out our website below. So for PJ Clark, Tate Sigworth, and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.